the story I'm in right now a lot, or that the last story, the story that wraps up Luke and everything. That's been one of my favorites. And I don't think there's ever been a story that the entire story I was like, ugh. I mean, even in stories that aren't your favorites, there will be moments that shine through for your character that you really enjoy. Or things that you learn about your character, you discover about them, even if it's not exactly what your favorite storyline would be. I think the only thing that is hard on, well, there's a lot of stuff that's hard on subs, but the thing that's frustrating, and it's not a story thing, but it's often lots of times you'll have to tell people, your family or your friends, what has happened to other people that you never watched, not in that scene, and then you have to go in an episode or throughout a week and tell 4 people in different order of how the wording is put. You have to tell them that somebody didn't get married because somebody else came from a gravestone and is truly in love. So it's not. I think all the stories have been things that I've really enjoyed doing.
That very thing that you're talking about, who is with whom, and blah blah and blah blah. You should have tried it when we were live.
That's when I feel like looking at the camera and going, for those of you who haven't been watching for the past this is what's happening.
Was there ever a thought to do it in this last year or so? Because that's what I wanted. People said, how would you like to go? And I said, I wish we could do it live. I know maybe you guys don't ever want to do that again.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. I would have loved to try to live.
Good luck, guys. I'll be on the dugout.
But no, I think we talked about it for about 3 seconds, and it had been done before. I think One Life had just done it, and also technically from Brooklyn it would have been difficult.
Oh, everything was difficult in Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn.
No, you're never difficult. You were the one exception.
So I have to ask Jean and Chris, how do you think about tying up all the loose ends? And when you think of closure in a serial, how do you go about thinking of who should be with whom and...
Leave me out.
Well, I think it was a sense of, what the characters sort of tell their own stories after a point, and it felt like there were things that we felt the need to really be specific about what was going to happen to people, and in other cases we wanted to leave it a little bit open, that we suggest the possibility that there will be a future that will go a certain way, but to leave that in the hearts and minds, I think, of the people who will, watch the end of the show and carry it with them.
We just wanted the audience to feel emotionally satisfied, and I think that was the key thing that we really wanted to do. And I just want to add, from you guys talking about your favorite scenes, from my point of view, you 3 guys in the middle here have been just the heart, soul, and rock of this show, and you guys have taught me so much. And Colleen, every time we've pushed you close to over the edge, you've come back because you're so wonderful, and people love you. And Teri, you are a leading lady. You've had Trent, you've had Paul Layden, Mike Collier. You've been successful with so many men, and that guy over there, Austin Peck. It's incredible. I mean, you have just been just so relatable on this show, and you've been a joy for both of us to see grow and watch and discover. And Trent, yes, you were the utility player for 5 years, but you brought so much, and you helped this one grow. Do you know what I'm saying? Katie grow, and it was just such a joy to watch you bring so many of your gifts to that character. And at the very end, when we first started talking about this character and where we wanted to take Luke, we were blessed with you doing it. And casting is 99% of it. It would never in a million years have been successful. We pegged it to a core character, but never in a million years would it have been as successful as it was if it were not for you. So that's what I've got to say on that.
And And you also have one storyline that you're going to deal with Nancy too. Could you just talk about Helen Wagner and her character?
Well, obviously it was a very, it was a shock and a very, very sad thing that Helen passed away before we were able to take her all the way through, because of course we had very clearly planned that she would have a very strong function at the very end of the show. And so what we chose to do is to play, I guess I can say this, yes, right? To play the fact that the character dies on the show and to deal with it. And it seemed like the respectful thing to do. And I think Chris said at some point too, if we glide over it, it will not make sense for the end of the show. So we had to pay tribute to her, and we felt very strongly about that. Necessity of that.
Well, you've had such a loyal audience for so long. Should we take questions from the audience? We have a lot of, please wait, we have a microphone, and then we'll, how about right here, and then we'll go back.